6, 7, 8, 9. Hola, ¿dónde está la baña? Por favor, me llamo Tim. ¿Cómo te llamas? I thought I would do in Spanish. I thought we'd just roll this out in Espanol today. For those that don't know what we're doing today, we're doing a little online Big Blue / NFL talk from across the pond, the back with Dom, a.k.a. the Duke of Funk. So we're also going to be talking NFL. We're going to be talking the show. We're going to do basically a live podcast. What's up, Zach Attack? What's up, Mike Lee? What's everyone that's normally here in his house? Glad you guys can make it. We're always going to talk Giants, but we're also going to talk the debacle known as last night's game. 2 for 3. 2 for 3, 48 times. 48 times rushing. I don't know what the hell's going on. But we're going to kick in the intro. We're going to do our intro. We're going to record this live. So let's hope I got I do got the right one rolling. So Dom is here, and we're going to go live in 3, 2, and 1. All right, everyone. This is Tim and Dom from NFL Talk from across the pond and back. Coming to you live on online Big Blue Television. We're going to talk sports. We're going to talk everything in between. We're going to have a little fun today. And Dom, you're looking quite dapper today. The stripper pole I see has been put away. The dollars, which are silver dollars, are nowhere to be found. Welcome.
The stripper pole is still there. I still haven't managed to fix it back up onto the wall where it fell down. It's coving, to be fair, but we'll go with stripper pole. It makes me sound a little bit more cool, which is something when you're rocking a woolly jumper, because we're in the middle of a storm, which caused a power cut a few hours back.
Wah, wah, wah. Don't want to hear it. There's no one that cares. Hey, we got Juan, of course, is in the house. We got Zach Attack. We got Mike Lee. We got my favorite guy, and I call him Mazinga because it reminds me of Mazinga from my old childhood days. We're going to talk about everything going on with the Giants. We're going to talk about some things in the NFL. We're going to roll up for an hour. This is part of the online Big Blue, or I should say the NFL Talk from across the pond and back podcast. We are podcasting not only live, but we're also recording it. So if you have questions, you want to talk about something, it doesn't always have to be the Giants. Just chime right in. But I do think, here we go, the Duke of Funk. The Duke of Funk. He is the Duke of Funk. Don was dubbed the Duke of Funk very first time on our very first show. And I don't think you knew what to go with that.
No, you had to send me a picture. I had no idea who he was. But I'm loving the comment that Urban Meyer stole the stripper pole, and that's why it's no longer to be seen.
there is no stripper pole because Urban Meyer has it in his house. Dom, of course, we all know you hung out with Urban Meyer, that you kept him out of the pubs, that you kept him away from the floozies, that you did everything in the Bible reading, because we know that's just what happens there.
We made sure he didn't go off the rails when he beat Miami in London a few months back. Yeah, he stayed away from Soho. There was no issues.
So if anyone doesn't know, the Duke of Funk is George Clinton, and no relation to Bill. So I always tell people, if you want to know who George Clinton is, go Google it. And you know what? He looks exactly like Dom, almost identical. Scary enough, could be brothers. I'm just throwing it out there. We're going to answer questions. We're going to take comments. We're going to do everything. Oh, wait, we got to hear some. Juan just says something here. Tim, I heard this morning on talk radio about bringing Sean Payton. What do you think about that? Dom, Sean Payton's not coming to the Giants.
No.
Sean Payton's not going to leave the comfort of New Orleans, where he is still a legend, unless New Orleans decides to move on from him. I can't see.
I don't see New Orleans moving on from exactly where everyone thought they'd be this year. And then they lost Jameis Winston, who, whether he's a number one starting quarterback or not, let's wait and see. But they've lost him for most of the season. He's not moving.
No, he's not going anywhere. He's not going. But that is good, though. What do we got here? Or Roger Clinton. Yes, Dom is Roger Clinton, because I like the pen that he has in his hand. He's looking very.
Yeah, you should stop fiddling.
He's looking very dapper, because Dom has a pen. I'll just have. I'll hug since Dom's hugging his pen, I'll hug my buddy Thunderstruck. Oh, that's too bad. It actually is my buddy Thunderstruck. Dom, let's talk for a minute about the G-Men, the Giants, the debacle, the Joe Judge, the Judgeinator, the Judge-a-knock. The judge hopefully doesn't have a no job and no more job. I mean, why, Dom? Why say the stuff that he says? I think we're moving in the right direction. You're 4-8. Technically, you should be 3-9. What direction are we moving in that's the right way? Is it north by southeast? Is it longitude latitude of 0.76 by 14.9? What's the direction, Dom? Tell me.
I believe they call it tanking. I mean, no, I mean, I don't necessarily think we're tanking, but I mean, it's clearly not going well, right? I mean, you don't. I mean, I'm bored of talking about how rubbish we are.
All right, so let's talk about something else. Let's talk about Duke. Does he have a Northern Soul show?
But yeah, no, I don't. Long live Wigan. But yeah, fine. Wigan, I'm sure, has some nice parts to it. But yeah, to answer your question, we're going south rapidly.
So he is going to. So he is going. So I guess we can say that Joe Judge is going a direction.
At the moment, he should be going west when everyone else wants him to go home for a few days, as we discussed before we came on air. But
oh my God, James Williams is in the house. It's Mr. Williams. Payton thinks he can turn Taysom Hill into a quarterback, but I bet he knows he can't do that with DJ. Well, what's up, Broom? Oh my God. So do you think any respect for Taysom Hill? Any respect? Because I don't have any.
No.
They gave him the $28 million over 3 years. I think 14 of that's guaranteed. Is there any no respect for Taysom Hill as a quarterback? Correct?
No. I don't rate him as a quarterback. I think he's wildly inaccurate. Essentially, he's a running back playing quarterback. I mean, that's how I see him. I really do not like him at all.
You don't like him all personally?
I mean, we hang out on occasion, but you have to say it as you see it.
Hold on. I'm getting a new soundboard. Just like everyone to know that. So things are going to go much smoother starting the next day because I saw something right here and I had to do it just for Mike Lee. Who let the dogs out? Joe Judge. All right. Joe Judge has let the dogs out. He's let everything go to hell. He's let everything go to hand. If anyone that has not watched, I did a video today and I picked who I wanted the Giants head coach to be. And I think I don't want to get into it because of the fact that it's I want people to go watch it. But Tim, I really respect your opinion about Willis, but I have to draft an offensive lineman. I don't want Willis or any other quarterback to run for their lives in a horrible ass offensive line. Dom, everyone knows my affinity for Malik Willis. I know everyone thinks that I'm crazy, that I want this kid so badly. But I think that yesterday, the Patriots showed us the way that you don't need to throw in this league at all. You need to throw it 3 times, complete 2 passes. And the Buffalo Bills literally seemed like they had 11 in the box and couldn't stop the run. Now, I will say, I believe the Patriots were 3 for 13 on third downs. So this was a game that they could win. But an offensive line such as ours, as bad as it is, how the hell can the Giants, after you watch the Patriot game, not figure out how to run block? It's the easiest thing in the league to do.
I mean, yes, you're right. Because I mean, do you want me to go through it? I mean, we got Will Hernandez, a guard, who couldn't, I mean, he couldn't block my grandma, and she's been in the ground for 20 years. He's absolutely shocking. I
was going to give you the rim shot for that, but bringing up your dead grandmother kind of lowers the standard of the stream.
Yeah. I'm saying,
and our streams are pretty low standard as it is.
But you got, it's a horrible line. We've got a horrible line. I mean, even if you put Gates, who's obviously missed most of the season, back in, Shane Lemieux comes in. Even if you put our starting offensive line in, I like Thomas. I think Gates would be better at guard. But even if you put first choice line in, it's not brilliant. And I think it would be able to block. But this lot couldn't block anything. I mean, seriously, they are terrible. But that's kind of where we are at the moment. And I actually do have some sort of I can understand that opinion that's on screen right now about drafting offensive linemen right now. Not necessarily linemen, but looking and going, do you look to put pieces in place before you go and draft a quarterback? We all know Jones isn't the answer. Do you just play him out his 4th year and then go and draft one the following year, or do you bring one in and hope he can sort of make something happen here? I think there are alternatives to drafting a new quarterback in in the draft. And I think it will depend on what the new GM, which we think will come into New York, will want to do. I think if there's a quarterback you like, you take the quarterback now. If you are not 100% sure, and you can never be sure how they're going to turn out, but you're not 100% in love with a quarterback in a draft, then I think you do go and put pieces around. I don't think it will help Jones, but it might just make it easier for whoever replaces him.
Well, I have a theory. You take Malik Willis, and then you take 2 offensive linemen. And you have 2 first-round picks and a high second-round pick.
Yeah, I think I haven't seen Malik Willis play. I think it will depend on that, but I also look at other needs around, and I think Ojulari is obviously developing nicely on the edge, but we still need an edge rusher. We still need linebacker help. I still think we need a defensive tackle. There are lots of needs on this team, so I think for me, if we do not love a quarterback in the draft this year, then I think you do look at alternative strategies. So I don't think that's crazy, but I definitely don't think Daniel Jones is the answer.
And I like what Hakeem B says here, because he's one of those other intelligent followers of Online Big Blue. Let's talk about Jim Harbaugh wearing Giants blue and khakis. Well, Hakeem, you just stole my video that I just did. Probably tanked the shit out of it, but I love you, Hakeem. But I love you, man. I think Harbaugh, to me, back up the Brinks truck, roll it up into Michigan. I think if he wins a national championship, that he would be more inclined to leaving, because I think his goal was to win a national championship in college, especially after what happened in Stanford and everything else that happened. I think the way he went out with the 49ers and kind of was unceremoniously let go. The owner at the time, could say anything he wants, but he really did kind of get pushed out the door. But I think if he wins a national championship, Dom, I think Harbaugh might consider a challenge coming in. And I believe you would have to give him some control over player personnel. I think you would have to give him at least 60-70% of the ability to go and bring in his own guys. But Jimmy, bringing in Jimmy. What do you think, Dom?
I mean, I'm not against it. I think whoever comes in, I think there has to be it has to be the new GM, someone that the new GM trusts and wants to work with. I think that you do clean house completely, and I think the two need to work together. And barring an absolute car crash in the next year or two, you have to let it roll for 3 to 4 years. Whoever comes in as GM and whoever comes in as head coach, I don't disagree with you though. I think that Harbaugh, if he does win that national championship, I think it would be his next challenge. I think he's someone that wants a challenge rather than a comfortable life. And the New York Giants would certainly be that.
Oh yeah, and I have to point this out. My hair is on point today. I was actually just looking at it. My hair is it's I didn't get the paste in right, but because I was also outside and it was kind of windy, but my hair is, and plus the headphones screw it up. But yes, sir, my hair is on point today. My hair is as rocking as it gets.
Meanwhile, in this week's Vogue, I'm rocking a lovely little number. It's from Chanel.
Well, you know what the good thing about you, Dom, is you're a stripper pole. So you're good. You're good.
We established Urban Meyer nicked it.
I love this one though. Correction. There was a comment about the Giants and Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones. Sam Darnold was 13-25 on the Jets. Jones is 12-25. Let's face the facts. That's facts. Mr. The Hard Way, that's facts. I mean, that is dropping beyond knowledge about Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold. And what did Sam Darnold do in Carolina, Dom? Nothing.
Well, he went 3-0, and then it went, he joined the Joe Judge Compass and went south.
Isn't that Cade McNown? Number 4. Logic's Finest was Cade McNown. That wore number 4 in Chicago. No, Jim Harbaugh. Jimmy Harbaugh. Let's see what else we got in here. What do we got here for Mr. Juan? The facts the Patriots ran the ball and dared the Bills to stop. It says a lot about Belichick and how we well run. You know what? Belichick figured it out. He knew he wasn't going to be able to really throw. He didn't want to put the pressure on Mac Jones. He did something that both the Eagles and the Cowboys should have done against the Giants. The Eagles should have never thrown a pass, and that lost to the Giants. They should never thrown the ball once. They ran for over 200 yards on 36-something carries. And Dallas did the same thing, even though we lost to Dallas. Dom, I've said this before. Is it Brady or is it Belichick that's the genius in New England? And I'm starting to see now that, and early in the season, I was thinking maybe it was Brady, but I don't know, man. What Belichick did, and he knew he was going to take a ton of crap if they lost. He knew he was going to get reamed, but he still did. He ran. He threw. It was Tim Tebow time. Tebow sometimes threw the ball 11 times a game. He threw the ball 3 times. Is or will be the Patriots now the cream of the crop of the AFC East?
I mean, I had the Bills early on, but I think most people did. Bills, I think, have one game in hand at the moment, so they could close within one of the Patriots. But I've been saying it all year that I don't rate Mac Jones as a quarterback, but I thought he was a nice system fit and he was ready to play. I thought they added nicely in the offseason. And I said right at the very start, I've been saying all year, I thought they'd start slow and come through as we got in towards the real winter months. And they started a week or two earlier than I thought they were, but they're coming through. And right now, it's hard to bet against them taking that division. I didn't think they would take the division. I thought they'd come second, but they know how to win ugly. They know how to win when the weather gets cold. They got a system, they got a plan, and they will follow it through. And to answer your Belichick Brady, I've always said it's both, and I still stand by that. I said it last year when they were 8-8, and I still think it's the same now.
I mentioned to Mike Lee that Mrs. Online Big Blue, the sangria fruit is still in the refrigerator, but the problem is you can't handle the fruit. You can't handle that fruit because that fruit now, Mike Lee. I don't think throwing that in the Harbaugh deal do anything but actually make the deal go south because that thing has been fermenting now since Thursday of last week. It's not. There's so much alcohol in it. It didn't even turn brown. It's like she shellacked it.
Why do you have it for Christmas? I suggest cooking your Christmas dinner first before trying it, because otherwise you might not get around to cooking it. But
I'm not. I didn't eat the fruit. I'm a man. I don't eat the sangria. I don't drink sangria. I drink things like that are lit on fire and stuff like that. I don't drink sangria. I drink stuff. I don't drink
sangria either, but I don't drink things that are on fire.
I drink things that are like called death. Things that are called don't drink this because it could take the pain off something. Dom, this is a good question for you, Dom. Does Dom think Joe Judge is a track coach?
Has anyone seen the Giants running laps recently? Is it working?
He's not a very good track coach if he is. I mean, I don't know. I think the only way Jim comes to I think that's the only way that Jim comes to the Giants. All right, I'm going to take Mrs. On. I'm going to tape her. Mrs. Online Big Blue, get the sangria. Bring the sangria. We will make sure we save the sangria. What's up, Muzz? What's going on? Welcome. Here we go. We got a question from Logic's mind. Jim Harbaugh is a proven program builder. He would create a solid playoff program top to bottom. I want Harbaugh from the day Coughlin left. When Coughlin left, and we went to the search of Coughlin, Dom, we went to the big search. We were looking for the head coach. We were looking for the next guy. And we came up with the doo-doo. I mean, what was your mindset? I thought that first search that we were going to find like that coach that wanted to be a Giant, that wanted to come here, that wanted to continue the lineage of Giant head coaches. Parcells, Coughlin, even Dan Reeves. I mean, what did you think from day one when Coughlin was fired did you think we were going to get somebody that was actually, I don't know, good?
Yeah, of course. I mean, right now, I think the coaching search is much harder than it was back then. And to come up with Ben McAdoo, and there's a bit of history, rewriting itself, because I can't actually remember exactly what I thought. But certainly, I would imagine if trying to think back, I'd have been massively underwhelmed by McAdoo. You'd have thought he'd be bringing in a big hitter, at that time. But unfortunately, we didn't, and we've followed up with 2 more bums since then. So, fourth time lucky, maybe.
Fourth time's the charm. Mr. Authentic is in the house and he says, sangria is my boop. You know what, though? You can't handle the fruit. We are going to send you some sangria, Mr. Authentic. We're not going to send you this sangria. We're going to send you the fruit. What's up, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Hope everyone's doing well. What does Mr. James want to say? I want Jim too. He does know how to build a program and inspire players. Do you think the Giants aren't inspired by Joe Judge right now? Do you think they've tuned him out?
I think some have, for definite. How many? I don't think we necessarily know until the end of the season when players have moved on and all the coach have moved on. I think that's when it will really all start to come out. But you're starting to see some tweets. You're starting to see him give up in games at times, and that doesn't bode well. And there are players that you'd probably expect to be seeing more of that maybe aren't buying in or just aren't Joe Judge guys that just aren't getting the field, and you'd expect them to be getting the field either because they're either players that could add something now or the players that are ahead of them and maybe would have started ahead of them aren't performing, and therefore you'd want to see them come in and see what they can do. So I think they are giving up on them. I think the team is giving up on them. They know the GM's gone, and most sane people would say if the GM goes, you get rid of the head coach as well, especially when you're in the mess we are.
Zach says, idiots on Twitter are saying Mac Jones is a bad quarterback since he threw 3 times for 19 yards, and Daniel Jones is going to be a Super Bowler. All right, we all know what I've said before. Everyone stay the F off Twitter. You're not allowed to go on Twitter. Only I can go on Twitter. I want to rant for half a second, Dom. I want to rant.
Just half a second.
Just for half a second. So I want to rant. I've been right for 2 years. I said Joe Judge was a bum. I said Daniel Jones was not a quarterback. I said this team was going to be bad for the last 2 years. And now everyone on Twitter is coming around saying the same thing, that Joe Judge is this and Daniel Jones is this, and we have to blow it up this and everything else. I want an apology for all the people that said mean things to me for 2 years. Tim doesn't know football. Tim doesn't understand the sport. I am ready for my apologies. Go. And if you don't want to apologize, F you. Because you know what? People always say to me, you never admit when you're wrong. I always admit when I was wrong, but you know what?
No, you do. You definitely do.
Thank you. But I've been right for 2 years about the Giants. And I've dared people numerous times point out to me where I was wrong when I gave an honest assessment and breakdown of this team. For 2 seasons, Dom. Tell me where I was wrong. Somebody. No.
I think you might be waiting, but you're right. You were consistent from day one. Now, on Daniel Jones, I wasn't sold. On Joe Judge, it wasn't a press conference because that's ridiculous. I made a tongue-in-cheek remark about Sirianni at Philadelphia, actually, over press conference in one of the early shows we did, and it was a very tongue-in-cheek remark. But I thought I could understand the hire, which was he, in theory, should understand as a special team on both sides of the ball, but it's not panned out that way at all. And I don't necessarily think he's done. I think he's done in New York. I'm not saying he won't come back, but he's going to have to go away and he's going to have to rebuild his reputation. He's going to have to go away and learn if he wants another shot somewhere. And it won't be instant. His next job is not a head coach in the NFL.
No, I agree. And I don't know what's going on in the chat because I was ranting. I got from Windplug that the authentic, that's why I only watched him. These delusional giant YouTubers think Daniel Jones would be 9-4 on the Patriots. No, he was not going to be 9-4 on the Patriots because you know what? The complexity of Josh McDaniel's system would make Daniel Jones' head explode. Plain and simple. It's not an easy system. People say, well, it's an easy system when you only throw the ball 3 times. Well, that's one game. Bill Belichick's not going to do that every single game. He's not going to say run.
Look, I have a great respect for Josh Allen last night, particularly in that fourth quarter, because he managed to throw the ball in those conditions and throw it relatively well. But not many quarterbacks can do that. Mac Jones cannot do that. So why on earth would you do anything other than run that ball last night? Because you were running it well, you were running it effectively against a very good Buffalo side that has been a bit hit and miss this season, but it is still a very good side. And you're just saying to Mac Jones, when there's a chance, you're going to throw it. And if that's 3 times, fine. If it's 8 times, fine. But we are not going to do that because you're not athletic, so we're not going to ask you to run with it.
Right.
And you don't have a big arm. But what you are is accurate, and you can read a defense. And that's what he is. And last night wasn't the game for him to do that, so they ran that ball.
That's all they did. What's up, Joey G Sports? That's all they did, though. You're 100% right. What is this one for Mike Lee? This always worries me. Have Mrs. Online Blue use a fruit for a fruitcake, send it to Jim after he eats it, kidnap him to MetLife, and forge his signature on a contract. And I could hide out in the UK after that. I like it. I like it because
in Buffalo last night. As long as that business holds, they'll never find you.
They may never find me in Buffalo. Giants can be in better shape than a lot imagine. If we add a top edge, 5 and 6, like Dex, Leo plays inside on a 4-3, Z on the rookie edge, combined with Blake's return. Here's going to be a couple problems, TJ, and I'm not picking on you. Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence have shown now repeatedly they are not the same without Dalvin Tomlinson. They are not there. They're not the same with the guy doing the dirty work. And that's what we need. And Dalvin Tomlinson, I've said this a million times, what he does not show up on the stat sheet. He takes up 2 guys. So they're not the same. And Leonard only gets his sacks when he is allowed that via the coverage. That's why we refer to him as the king of the coverage sack. So you're asking a Z to play a full-time linebacker position on a 4-3. And you're hoping that Blake Martinez comes back from an ACL. And most of the times you don't recover completely from your ACL till year 2. We don't know the extent of the injury itself. And then you're going to hope someone like Tay Crowder, to me, who's playing undersized linebacker in a middle linebacker position, to also man the outside edge when that's not his forte. It's a good idea. But like I said, I do think you should pick up a top edge with one of the picks. I do still think we should go with someone like Malik Willis with the second pick. And I do think we should go offensive lineman in round 2. But I mean, like I said, there's just so many other holes right now. Plus James Bradbury is not playing up to his level. Adoree Jackson, you don't know what you're going to get, even though we're stuck with him contractually. I mean, it's going to be relying on the secondary and people like McKinney. So, but I'm still thinking about kidnapping Joe Judge. Let's get a good question in here. What's going on here? Yes, I love the entertainer, but he's delusional when it comes to Jones. I don't know. You watch other YouTubers, Dom. You watch other giant YouTubers. You forsake me and go to other channels and start chats and leave comments. Question for you, since you are a traitor. I mean, a good person. It was traitor. I was right the first time. What do you think about is there a delusionalness out in giant YouTuber land, not only about Daniel Jones, and I'm not picking on Chris, but not only for Daniel Jones, but just in the entirety for the last, I don't know, year or so, that maybe we're just not looking, or some people aren't just looking at the big picture, but you get a lot in these chats. So I don't. So what are you seeing? What is your opinion about the state of the giant YouTube community when it comes to Joe Judge, Daniel Jones, and just the Giants in general? Because I am curious, because we've talked about this. We talked about, and I can't remember Alex from somewhere. But what is your state of the New York Giants YouTube community opinion? And I'm putting you on the spot here because I want you to be honest.
Yeah, I think there are mixed channels out there, and I think there are mixed views on Daniel Jones and the state of the Giants. I think that there are some channels like this one where they are far more realistic and honest about the assessment of where we are than others. I think that is 100% the case. And I also think we have to remember what the YouTube medium is and why, and people do it for different reasons. And it's not me picking on anyone in particular, but there are. We all know that if you want to really sort of grow your channel, you put out really popular things that people are going to want to believe and get behind and feel all sunny. And
hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Just hold on 1 second. What is this that TJ is saying? TJ, you know what, TJ, I'm patting myself on the back. But you know what that means, guys? If someone I don't like says something, wait, we are giving the cheer out. I'm sorry, TJ. Shockingly patting myself on the back.
Get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
And you want to know why? Sorry. It's had to ban somebody.
That's all right. But I think the other thing is, look, as Giants fans, we all want Joe Judge to be success. We all want Daniel Jones to be a success because it means this club is there. And I think it does cloud judgment because we have not been good for 2016. It's been a long time for an organization that is not used to being in this position. Like every side, it has downtimes, but you just want to succeed. And I'm not going to throw them under the bus for wanting to succeed, but I do think you have to be honest. We try and be honest about all 32 teams when we do this show, and say what we see, and sometimes we're right and sometimes we're wrong on that. Hello, Carolina Panthers going to the playoffs. That went well, but you make your channel what you want it to be, and I think when you're watching that, you have to take through that media. And it's the same with the mainstream media, right? You will get different takes and different points of view on whatever subject it is, depending on what you're watching, listening to, and you have to look at it through that medium because that is that. And then so how accurate is that, and reflect on that perspective. And that's why I like lots of different perspectives, and I'm happy to sort of listen to those. But I have my own view, and sometimes that means I disagree, and sometimes it means I agree with what any content creator is doing.
Well, thank you. Well, that was my point. And yes, Tim was literally the only Giant YouTuber last year calling Daniel Jones a bad quarterback. He was right. And I'm not going to lie. And like I said, here with Mr. Carlos coming in saying, yes, he did. I loved Mike Lee's comment. Tim, you have a better chance surviving the sangria fruit than getting an apology. Frankie, yes. So that's Mr. Sinatra. OBB, is it my comp screen or is your hair getting darker? Now, my hair is, problem is right now, the lights I have are not on my head. You could see the gray on the other side. Don't worry. If I put it on top there, you would be like, yeah, okay. Oh, my goodness. Let's see here. Oh, here we go from James Williams. Let's keep it real. Most Giant fans are not YouTubers, not in the room right now. We're still thinking DJ was the answer to the start of the season until his colors were shown through. What was your assessment, Dom, with Daniel Jones? Starting the season, what did you think? I mean, after what happened last year, what was your thought? And I forget, because I honestly forget. What was your thought coming in the training camp and your first couple of weeks of the season about Daniel Jones?
We all hoped he'd be the answer, but I suspect he wasn't. I remember texting Chris, who listens to the show, and he's a Patriots fan. Just to throw it out there, Chris said there were 2 Super Bowls that you lost to us, just because I haven't mentioned.
And for those that do not know, that are not followers of NFL Talk from across the pond, the back, Dom's friend Chris is also referred to as the King of the Idiots because he is a Patriot fan.
But I said to him midway through last season, I was like, I have a feeling that this isn't going to go as we want it to go. And it's proved to be that way. I didn't think he'd be as bad as he's been this season, and let's be honest, he's been bad. And I think we've been playing the way we have been to try and limit the mistakes. And if you're going to win, you can't do that. Unfortunately, we all want him to be success, but he hasn't been. And I've been saying all year, I think he is a low end starter to an NFL backup, which, by the way, is. I mean, I'd kill to be that good, but
I know I'd kill to be a third string NFL quarterback.
But it's that's where he is. I think that's where I was at the start of the season. You can go back and listen and check to make sure I didn't say. Champs is in the chat.
Champs is in the chat. I'll have to find him.
But he's hi Chris. But it's I'm pretty sure that's where I was at. I don't think I'm rewriting history there. But I'm sure someone can go back and listen and tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. I think that's where I was. It's where I've been since mid last season, I think.
This is why I like Mr. Authentic. And like I said, if I call you Mr. and I use your name, it's because of the fact that I massively respect you. And it's not that I don't respect you if I don't call you Mr. And that's why I have Mr. Lewis and Mr. Williams and everything else. But I love Mr. Authentic because I pat myself on the back all the time. So that's honesty. I love that. I love that. I got a question here from Zach. Zach will drop in the super chat. Of course, all super chats go to the Philadelphia Children's Hospital. It is the holiday, so if you can give We're trying to give at least $500 this month to the hospital. We gave up $400 and I believe $78, which was our biggest amount that we'd given up in reference to the super chats. Zach says, "What does Dom think of Pepper's tweet?" Did you hear the tweet about Pepper?
Yes, but I can't remember which one it was.
The Symphony
one.
one.
Logan Ryan comment straight after the game, and I've now forgotten what. Was this the one where he was talking about
the Symphony?
You're promoted to number one doesn't mean you can lead the orchestra or similar.
Yeah.
Do
you think it was directed at Joe Judge, Freddie Kitchens, or Mike Glennon?
I don't think it was Mike Glennon. I think it's one of the other two. And I don't understand why it would be on the other side of the ball at Freddie Kitchens, although it would apply. I think we're talking earlier about the fact he's probably losing the team, and I think this is probably evidence of it. Possibly John Mara, but I think probably Joe Judge if I had to put my money on. I don't think that's the type of thing you want to see from any team at any stage. I'm not a big fan of that sort of thing, but I think it doesn't spell for a happy locker room at this moment in time when someone like Peppers is doing that.
Well, this is interesting. I got two things I got to get to. Tim, do you think the defense is playing bad because of scheme or because the players are bad? I think it's because of scheme. We have man-to-man corners playing zone 85% of the time. The reason why they're playing zone, and Dom could probably attest to this as well, the reason why they're playing zone and not going man-to-man, because it is going to take longer for the play to develop when you're going into a zone defense and you're not going man-to-man, which that means is you're not going to be asking your corners to go man-to-man coverage and maintain and hold that coverage for a longer period of time because we have no pass rush. And the only reason we ever get sacks is because of the fact that the coverage is so well in the secondary that it's a little bit more of an issue than it would be if we were able to generate a pass rush. And I've said this a million times. There's two things that can happen on defense. You could have a bad pass rush and a great secondary, and that'll make your pass rush look better. Or you could have a terrible secondary and a fantastic pass rush, and that'll allow you to cover your deficiencies in the secondary. And Dom, that's why I think Patrick Graham is headed that direction, or has been playing that for the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. Absolutely spot on. The secondary is the strength of the defense as well, so it makes sense to try and give the front longer to try and get some kind of pressure on the quarterback. But to do that, you have to play the way they are. But if it fails, you're gonna give up. You're gonna give up yards.
Mike Lee, Fireside Giants dropped a salary cap video. If you're going to do a film study, choose that one. No, I didn't watch it. I'm curious to see because it's Fireside Giants that we're always talking about. Mr. Jackson is coming rolling into the house. How you doing today, my friend? Here we go. This is a good one. Facts over feelings. Yes, sir. I like that. Sometimes you got to back yourself. Let's see here. Where's Champs? What's his what's going on, Mr. Whoops, I got a problem with my clicker. That's what she said. What's going on, Afghanistan, baby? Oh, yeah. Years before 2016 as well. I must have missed something in the chat. But welcome. Where's Chris?
He says, hi, Tim, and he's ignoring me, which is very, very sensible.
This is funny because I didn't know this. You have exactly 666 subscribers. Would you expect any less? Oh my God, Tay Crowder's playing well. I agree, Tay Crowder's playing well, but he's an undersized inside linebacker. He should be playing more out on the outside portion, but he's playing there out of necessity. There's Champ. Hey, Chris, how you doing? I'm ignoring Dom. Don't we all ignore Dom?
Very sensible.
I'm trying to read and catch up on this thing. Oh, next stream, you guys better watch it because we're having moderators. Got 2 of them next stream coming on. Oh my God. According to Dom, I didn't have any. No, I had them. I just lost the emails because Dom should know I'm not very organized. Let's see here. Oh, this is a good question. Is Peppers trying to get out of here? I don't think he's trying to get out of here because he's already gone.
He's not coming back.
There's no way he's coming back because they're not going to re-sign him with the emergence of Xavier McKinney.
No, exactly. And even if they wanted to, I suspect they're going to struggle to make it work with the cap anyway.
What did you think of Logan Ryan and his comments about Tua? Was he being self-deprecating, or do you think that he was kind of
possibly
being a dick?
But it's ill-timed. The optics on it are terrible.
Yeah, right after the game, that was awful.
If it was someone like Ojulari or one of the rookies, you think, okay, that's a learning experience. But someone Logan Ryan's experience should have known better, frankly. And that's not to pick on Logan Ryan personally. We all do dumb stuff, even if regardless of how experienced we are. But someone like that probably should know better. And I think it was still timed. But I don't necessarily think it was a personal dig at anyone. I think it probably was self-deprecating, but timing was awful.
Here's my thing about Logan Ryan. He's done some questionable stuff in his 2 years here. You can look at the Dak Prescott hit or lack thereof, or what he did to Dak, and say, okay, that was kind of not iffy, but some people think it's iffy. Some people think it wasn't. What he did to Waddle, to me, in my opinion, he could have just tagged the kid. He didn't have to spear him almost in some ways when he was down on the ground. Yes, he was trying to get up, and I understand it's an extension of the play because I've done similar things. But when I've played, you just tag him because that's all you got to do when he's down. And then he comes out with this comment. If anyone, I think, maybe trying to get himself out of New York, maybe it's Logan Ryan.
Ironically, having tried to get everyone and their mother into New York.
I think all the money we gave people went and got everyone. Brought everyone into New York. That's a Festus Miracle 666. I have to fix that. Get someone else to subscribe because I don't like that. What's up, JJ? Welcome into the house. What's going on here? Where's Jeffrey? Did I see Jeffrey? Where's Jeffrey? Where's Mr. Jeffrey? Joey D. What does Joey D got to say? If you were to end up with Eric Bieniemy as our coach next season, do you think it's possible we could bring Spags back to be our DC? I don't know if Spags is going to be hanging out. Depending, you know what, Kansas City's defense has actually been stepping it up a little bit lately. William Gay Jr., who was a player that I wanted the Giants.
We've been talking about it on the.
Yeah, we've been talking about that all year. I wanted Eric Bieniemy when they hired Joe Judge. That's the guy I wanted, and I've said that multiple times. But they could not give him a second interview because he was going to the Super Bowl. And I understand the Giants' perspective or point of view because they went with Judge. Because of the fact that you do not want to wait after the Super Bowl to then get your head coach in place and start your scouting, start your what you need to do for your team. So I understood the philosophy of not waiting. And I know a lot of people are like, well, is it Eric Bieniemy calling the plays or Andy Reid? And we all know it's mainly Andy Reid, but Bieniemy is learning from the master in some way. So I mean, Eric Bieniemy was my guy. Him and Wink. What's his name? Martindale. Over the defense coordinator over with the Ravens were the two guys that I did a video on that I thought would have been perfect Giant coaches. Who did you want, Dom? Before they hired Joe Judge, who was your guy? And I don't think Spags is coming back.
No, I think I was sort of on the Matt Rule train, someone that could come from the college game to try and build the program. I felt we were sort of in the need of real rebuilding. I think that's where I was at. I can't remember. But I think Matt Rule. But I think someone like Bieniemy deserves a head coaching job in the NFL, whether that's with the Giants or somewhere else. Eric Bieniemy has done his dues and has proved himself capable of winning a head coaching job to my mind.
In my perspective. Here's Jeffrey. Hi, Jeffrey. What's going on, my friend? Jeff, I was not a Jeffrey. Excuse me, Jeffrey. Jeff. Next thing we know, I'm going to be calling you up on the cell phone, Jeff, because I'm calling you Jeff now. Jeffrey, I was not able to stop the package. This is actually coming back to me, so then I will resend it as soon as it shows up back to me. So you should get that as soon as possible. Peppers a captain has even spoken up about Joe Judge. Giants shouldn't be taking risk like this. First-time head coach, a bum prospect, it's a major risk. I don't disagree. And I personally think, I never really gave my opinion, but I personally think that Peppers was speaking about Joe Judge. Because what does Peppers have to lose? He's not going to be here next year. And he's a Jersey guy, he's a stand-up guy. And in my mind, I personally think he was talking about the Judgeinator, the Judgeinox. The Judge is not going to be here no more, in my personal opinion. Let's see here. Oh, we got a super chat here. I'll super that by Mr. Jackson. The Giants organization should be shut down for the contract we gave Leonard Williams. All right, let's talk about the Leonard Williams contract for a minute, Tom. We all know how much I love Leonard Williams. You got a picture of him. Got a picture of him on my bed. I kiss him every night.
King of the almost sack.
I said it before. I would not have given him more than $11 million a year, 3 years, because that's what he's worth, because he's not Aaron Donald. You are what you were the first 5 years of your career. You go into year 6 and you have your career year, does not negate what you did the first 5 years, the first 5 seasons. And yes, it is going to destroy the cap next year. We have 3 players, I believe, next year that count for something like 30-something% of the cap. And Leonard Williams is a huge, it's like almost 16-17% of our cap space. We can't get rid of him because we would just die in the dead cap space money. What do you think, Dom? Is there anything we could have done besides signing Leonard Williams, like sign
Dalvin Tomlinson?
Dalvin Tomlinson.
I mean, I said this, at the time, you keep Tomlinson. He wanted to take a relatively team-friendly deal to stay. Even if he didn't take a team-friendly deal, he would have been much cheaper. I didn't think the talent difference was massive between the two. I think they play slightly different roles on the line. But you could have then spread that money elsewhere, and you could have got in other pieces to fill other holes with that salary money. It was a stupid contract that we now can't get out of.
No, it's short enough that we can get out in 2024.
Yeah, but the next two.
Yeah, but we're dead in space. And then Jeffrey, I don't know if you're joking. I can never tell with you. Center in round 1, please. I don't know. I don't know if he's joking on that. He probably is joking. I'm
not against taking offensive linemen with one of our 2 first-round picks.
I'm not against taking. I'm not
definitely. I would want a defensive end if there's a good one there on the board when we pick, because we don't know where we're picking yet. With one of them, and then after that, there are holes. You've got to take the best player on the board, but whether that's a quarterback or an offensive lineman or whatever, let's see. But
well, we know what you think of King of the Almost Sack. What do you think of?
That's what
He's the king. He's the king of the almost catch.
You mean?
You still caught it.
I know.
That's
I know.
the problem. You still caught it.
I know.
It's more like this.
I know, but I couldn't be bothered to bend down.
That's more Evan Ingram.
Do you know what happened with Ingram? He's gonna go and end up somewhere like I don't know, the Ravens or the Vikings or somewhere like that, and he's just gonna go and be a really, really good tight end. He might go to the Pro Bowl.
He could still go to the Pro Bowl.
I think he's a player. I think there's a good player in there. I just don't think it's just not going to work here. Right? For whatever reason, it's just going to be one of those players that doesn't work on this team.
16% of our cap space to a defensive lineman. That just sums it up. This sums it up to me.
A slightly above average one at that.
This sums it up to me from Jersey Beaner. This sums it up to me. Hey Tim, tickets for the Washington game at home are as low as $35. That sums up the, you know what? That should be the quote of the day, because that just sums up the Giant season. 35 bucks.
They make it up on hot dogs, which were about $50 a hot dog, so it'd be fine.
That's true. You just go to the coaches club though. Tim, since you want Malik Willis, what new coach you think fits the style or plays or coordinator that can help and successful in the NFL? Great question. Fantastic question. We need a guy that coached a guy in college that was his father, probably his first name was Oliver, who was also an NFL quarterback. Then he went to the pros and worked with some guy named Kaepernick. I think we should get him, because I think he understands the playing style. And Alex Smith. I do still think Jim Harbaugh would be a perfect fit for Malik Willis, because Jim Harbaugh understands the nuances of a running quarterback. He understands of the mobility of a quarterback, and I think he understands what the offense it should be in regards to a 21st century philosophy. In reference to a coordinator, you would need a seasoned guy. I think you would need someone that has more of a passing mindset, but understands the importance of someone like Malik Willis, who is similar to Lamar Jackson, is the fact that he can run between the tackles. You have to look at players that, people always bring up RG3 with Malik Willis. RG3 couldn't run between the tackles. And I point to the fact that Malik had one game where he ran the ball 20 times for 23 yards and was sacked 9 times. So, the kid is durable. I have been pontificating about Malik Willis, and I'm going to continue to do so. And we're going to have we're actually going to have a Malik Willis surprise. 2 big Malik Willis surprises coming up in the near future. And I'm not going to tell you what it is. The only player on the offense I trust at points is Graham Gano. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm missing Eli Manning.
Michael Thomas. Not Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas.
I meant Andrew Thomas.
Michael Jordan?
I meant Andrew.
Is it a British thing?
Yeah, I meant Andrew Thomas. On offense, I think we've got a left tackle there.
Okay.
If he can stay healthy.
If he can stay healthy, and I think he will. Oh, wait, here we go. Joey D. I was listening to another Giant content creator, and he suggested that maybe Judge should hire someone to call timeouts and challenge flags. What do you think of that suggestion? If we have
wait. Is he suggesting we get a new head coach?
I think that's what Joey D is suggesting that. Here's my question. We have like 47 assistant coaches. We almost have a coach for a player. So you would think one guy would say, whisper to Joe. First of all, whoever said that, they're an idiot. First of all, I apologize for calling someone an idiot. That's not nice. They're just dumb as shit. That you should, we should, no. No.
I did hear a rumor though about one of the challenge flags that Joe Judge did throw, because apparently he threw it to see if anyone could catch it, but unfortunately for him, Evan Ingram was stood next to him, and that's why the challenge flag was thrown. And
oh my god, that's too funny though.
I blame the headsets.
I blame the headsets. What does we say? Add Malik Willis. You have a dynamic regardless of the O-line. Thank you. That's what I've been talking about. Malik Willis makes plays when nothing is open and available. He can escape pressure. Yeah.
Look, that playing style is a new way in the NFL right now.
Never heard of it. Never seen a quarterback play that way.
And the reality is we have to find someone that can do that if we want a dynamic offense, and we haven't got it at the moment. So I'm not 100% not against that draft, because Jones isn't going to take us anywhere.
I like to see us go back to the 4-3. Everyone's thinking about. I'm not everyone, and I'm not being derogatory about anyone that thinks we should switch to a 4-3, because the 4-3 is the prevalent defensive alignment in the league, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you need to have 2 established edges. You need to have a strong defensive tackle with a second strong defensive tackle, and you need to have that presence, because you're relying on those players to stop the opponents from getting into the second level with the linebackers. With a 3-4, you can disguise it more because of the fact that you could bring a linebacker up to the line. You can put him on his down lineman position. It will allow you to be more aggressive in my mindset. And if we would have had Dalvin Tomlinson, I would have said, if you had we ran a lot of 4-man linemen last year, and the Ninjas are just dying here. The Ninjas are like 666. What the hell, man? I guess that would be what the hell. But I don't see that. I don't see that.
We haven't got the personnel for that system.
We don't. You know what's funny though, Dom? We signed Austin Johnson and Danny Shelton for $10 million.
I forgot we even had Austin Johnson.
What Austin Johnson's actually played well. He's actually been pretty well. Honestly, you think about it, Dalvin Tomlinson got $10 million a year in Minnesota. And we signed 2 guys for $10 million. Just throwing that out there. What's Zach Attack saying here? We gave $72 million to Leo, but let Dalvin leave for 22. Since 22 is more than 72, the Giants are a farm team from the NFC North at this point. As Dom knows, my math skills are not prevalent at times. But yeah, we're just talking about that now. Dom, how can you give? Danny Shelton's just been a wreck. And I said that the day we signed Danny Shelton, I said he's going to be a bum. I said he's going to be a bum. He's going to be a bust. He's going to be. So many people are like, well, you're missing the player that he was. No, he's not the player that he was 5 years ago. He's played the pass rush better than he's been playing the run. And I said you cannot combine that. And I actually like Austin Johnson. I was very curious to see at 27 what he was going to do coming in. But Dom, what was your thought, though, when you saw that Dalvin Tomlinson walked and you saw the contract that Minnesota gave him? What ran through? What ran through my mind, but what ran through your mind?
I mean, I was pleased for Dalvin Tomlinson that he got paid, because I think he deserved it. From the Giants' point of view, I wasn't shocked. I wasn't shocked at all. We couldn't sign both, and I knew it was going to be Leo. I just thought it was the wrong call. As for Danny Shelton, I don't think there's anything wrong with not being the player you were 5 years ago in whatever position you are, but you cannot, as a fan of any side, when you sign a player like that, think, well, he's signed with us, he's going to be the player he was 5 years ago. It doesn't work like that not very often anyway.
Well, we brought him in to be a run stopper. And statistically, according to the venerable Pro Football Focus, he plays the pass better than he plays the run.
Yeah, so what did we expect was going to happen? Right? I mean,
well, we're Giants. I don't know what we expect. That's why I was asking you.
I mean, I think the question was rhetorical, right? I mean, it's madness. It's complete madness. It just didn't make sense, and it's proved to be.
Here's a good one that doesn't make sense, and you know my opinion on this one. I'm gonna click this one up. Question: did you like the Billy Price? First of all, we traded for Billy Price. And why has he struggled? Well, okay, first of all, in Cincinnati,
but he's not a very good center.
He's not in Cincinnati. The nicest thing that they could say about him, and this came from his line coach, that he had gone from horrible to serviceable. That was the praise of Billy Price, that he had gone from horrible to serviceable. And I think everyone knows my love affair for Billy Price, and he's struggling because he sucks. I mean, that's plain and simple. He hasn't been good his entire career. How many times have we seen an ineligible man downfield on the center and other weird calls on the center? I've never, and all the times that I've watched the NFL, how many times have you seen that? And the ninja just fell off. The ninja just died.
Not many. I mean, even someone look, Nick Gates. I quite like Nick Gates, but he was playing out of position last year at center, and he was learning sort of on the job last year, right. And he wasn't giving away those penalties.
No. Well, no, that's not true. Nick Gates did have some stupid penalties, but to your point though, he was playing out of position.
But he was learning, and he started to eradicate them from his game as he went on. Billy Price has been playing this position for a while now, and you wouldn't expect to see those on as a regular basis as we are seeing.
I agree. Like the boat trip and the Black Cat have cursed us. The Black Cat, of course, in Dallas. The boat trip was that before the playoff game. I said last week we should go to Miami, find that boat, and sink it, because I do think it's like the curse of the Bambino. And same with the Black Cat. What do we got here? Tim, we drafted projected talent and signed wishful talent. I like that, because I keep saying this, and I've said this a million times. You get players like Matt from Connecticut, it's projected talent. You get these Shane Lemieux, it's projected talent. And I think Mike Lee's actually, I know he's joking, but I think he hit on this. You were hoping that Kenny G was going to come back from the injury and be the player that everyone thought he was. You hoped that Kyle Rudolph was going to come back and reverse the hands of time and become what he is. You hoped that Dory Jackson was going to cover from the knee injury and be a better player. I mean, Dom, I always say about projected talent, but I do like that. I do like that comment. Was the Giants free agency class this year? I gave it a C- and I got blasted. Do you think, and it's a great phrase, do you think it's wishful talent, wishful thinking that these guys were going to turn the corner? Outside of Booker, who I did not even like to sign, has played well, but what are your thoughts? Was it wishful talent, wishful thinking for this talent?
I mean, it was a gamble where we went all in and just had to see what would happen. I think on paper you look at it and go, this makes the Giants much better. But the word of doubt, particularly Jackson at corner, because he was coming off a very nasty injury. I think we did overpay for players where there wasn't other teams biting at them for that money. And I think we paid them to come, and we could have got them for less.
That's what she said.
Well, they might have gone, but you take that gamble. But I think that we got played a lot on that. But we were desperate. We had to get success this year. Gettleman had to get success this year to keep his job, to keep his job, and that's what he went for. what will be interesting to see is with some of those players that had those big injuries last year, like Jackson and like the smooth sounds of Kenny G, as you always say, and I always like that one, is what will happen next year? Will we see? So will we see them step up a level injury when they've had a sort of a season removed from the injury, a bit like Barkley? We've seen him sort of struggle on and off this year, and coming back from the ACL, that shouldn't be a surprise because it's a nasty injury to come back from.
Yeah,
maybe, I don't know. We will see, but certainly for this year, that would appear to be wishful thinking rather than anything else. But I think a lot of us were sold that this gave us a chance. The question was always, could Daniel Jones play? And the answer was no.
My thing about Kenny G, and this was, and I see Mr. Authentic was hopeful for Kenny G, and Mr. Winplug was never wanted Kenny. I didn't want Kenny G. I think everyone knows that. I thought we overpaid with the contract. I got worried when I talked, and I mentioned this multiple times. I've talked to people that live in Detroit and are Lions fans that were not upset that he left, and many felt he could have played with that hip pointer last year, that he was just holding out for the contract. And I said this when they were going to sign him or looking to sign him, when he did not want to leave MetLife offices. To me, it meant that there was no one else out there that was willing to give him the amount of money that he was looking for. And once we signed him, I got to admit, I had hopes that he would be somewhat of the player that he was, but I wasn't. I don't think I was unrealistic about the expectations of what he could be.
Yeah, look, we'll see what happens, next year before we completely write him off. But yeah, I think that's spot on.
It's funny that
the Lions weren't unhappy about it.
The Lions didn't care. That was the scariest thing. Like I said, I got friends that are huge. One guy is like a 30-year, 40-year Detroit Lion fan. And I said, we got Kenny G. And he's like, yeah, good luck.
But by the way, credit to the Lions this week. I mean, we haven't discussed any other teams, but credit to the Lions this week. They got their first win, and they've been fighting hard for weeks. So I'm actually quite pleased for them that they got that win this week.
NFL from across the pond usually talks about regular other games, but you know what? I'm having so much fun talking about the Giants in the middle of the day. I've never done this, and I think we're having good fun here. And Mr. Jackson says it's funny that our GM's trying to save his job is why he's getting fired. I mean, honestly, Dom, literally, to your point, he did this to save his job, but in some ways, it's cost him his job and wrecked the team. and it wrecked the team.
It's back to Reese's again, isn't it?
It's the Reese thing. What's Mr. Authentic got saying here? I'm going to jump to Bob there. Fellas, what are your thoughts on the OBJ? Who won? Well, I did a video on this. Turning around paying Kenny G was pretty much the same money. I did not like the OBJ trade. But I said I understood it. I understood why they thought they needed to remove him from the equation because of the fact that they were bringing in a rookie quarterback and they were afraid that OBJ was going to, I guess, I don't want to say bully because I think that's a bad word, but I thought that he was going to maybe get in his head a little bit,
It's bad influence on him.
Thank you. Bad influence on him. I liked when we got Peppers. I like Zeidler. And most people forget the Olivier Vernon portion of that was actually all one trade. It looked like two separate trades on paper, but via league, it was one trade. I mean, Dex, I'm not sold on Dexter Lawrence now without Dalvin Tomlinson. I'm not sold on O'Shane Zimenez. Oh, Shane, can you see? I'm not sold on him at all. Honestly, I think the trade was a push. In my mind, Dom, it was a push.
I don't think any team has won or lost, right? And I don't think either side got what they hoped they would get out of a trade.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so either.
In fact, almost literally, there are, by the end of the season, there's going to be almost nobody left on either side. There's going to be, we'll have, as you say, we'll have one or two, but they're not going to be main contributors, with the exception possibly of Dexter Lawrence, who has regressed this year, but. O'Shane Zimenez, he might not be back next year.
You got to do it. You got to do it right. Oh, shame, can you see?
Yeah.
You have
I
to
thought
do it right,
we'd
John.
never sing again on this show because it would never end well.
Come on, man. Midday is the best for streams. You know, Mr. Authentic, I am shocked when anyone shows up to one of my streams. I am literally stunned. We had 200-300 people the other day in the stream. I was like, what the hell? I always said there must be nothing on television at night for people to want to come and listen to me talk.
Well, when I have tea with the Queen tomorrow, I'll mention it and see if she can find some time.
Because we all know that everyone knows that anyone in England or the UK can at any time go have tea with the Queen. It's a rule. I read it in your constitution.
You don't even need to book in. Just drop it.
Just knock on the door. Hello, Queen. I'm here for my tea. At least when Jerry Reese had all the money in free agency, had a winning season. Yeah, he did. And it's funny that Olivier Vernon was one of those contracts. Same with Jack Rabbit.
But I think you'll find this season we have had many moral victories this season. So therefore, we have really had a winning season.
Oh yes, it's the moral victory. You have to have the moral victory. I haven't done this all day.
Draft, baby. Yeah.
Had to throw that out there. That's Dom doing his best Austin Powers, and I like because we have a good site. We've had some good sized audience today. Dom is the only person I know from the UK that does a Boston accent or a Brooklyn accent for Austin Powers. I mean, I assumed it would have been somewhere with the. I didn't think it was gonna be yo draft baby So, I'm sorry, Dom.
Do you know what? The funny thing is, is that someone said to me the other day, "You're really good at impressions," and my response was, "I'm really not." At which point, my boss who listens to this show was like, "You really should just listen to the podcast." He's really, really not.
He's really not. Why draft a quarterback who could be influenced by a wide receiver? Good point. You know what it is to me? It's, and I've said this about Daniel Jones, and I do want your opinion on this, Dom. I've always thought Daniel Jones. I'm not saying he's weak-minded, but I always felt that he does not have the intestinal fortitude to be the quarterback for the New York Giants, and I think the Giants protect him a lot. Now, he says the right things in front of the press, but I think he is protected a lot by the organization, which is why I think they just got rid of it. Got rid of OBJ. Got rid of a massive talent who just didn't pan out, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's right, and I think they were trying to make a big cultural sort of shift from Eli Manning, who could walk in and control the locker room just by being Eli Manning, to almost anyone else. And I think that's right on Daniel Jones. I think he was as surprised as anyone to be drafted the New York Giants at number 6. Yep. I mean, it shouldn't have been a surprise on the night, but for him, it was a big sort of shoes to fill coming in there, and I think anyone would have struggled. And I think the New York market is quite an intimidating place, and I think Zach Wilson is finding that.
He's finding out in a hurry. You're the man, Tim, keeping it funky about the Giants. I'm always funky. Dom may be the Duke of Funk, but whatever I do, I always do funky. So make sure I don't get my funk on you. Just going to throw that out there.
King's outranked Duke, so you can be the king of funk. If there is one.
I can be the king of funk?
You can be the king of funk.
I'm not funky. I took a shower. I took a shower before the stream because I was like, I'm going to take a shower before the stream because I want to be fresh. So I'm thinking to myself, why the hell am I taking a shower before the stream? No one's going to smell me from over here. Let's see. Mr. Jackson's got to go. What moral wins this year? Where? Well, let's see. A moral victory for the Giants this year, Dom, and we're going to each have to give one. Here, in my opinion, the moral victory for the Giants with Joe Judge is going to have to be when the Giants, and I keep vamping, and I'm hoping Dom steps in. The moral victory for the Giants is we didn't lose 9 games.
The moral victory for the Giants this year, and let's be honest, is that in spite of the headsets, we've won a few games.
We've won a few games, minus the headsets.
But I will have to review the film.
We'll have to look at the tape
and see if we can come up with some.
Mike Lee has come up with a good moral victory. Tim, Joe Judge is 16-8 if you include the press conference wins. I agree. There you go. Moral victory. OBJ's looking nice in LA already touchdowns and back. Yeah, OBJ, like I said, I always worried about OBJ when he got his wish when he was going to team back up with Jarvis Landry and make Baker Mayfield. I know they had the whole thing where they were all hugging each other and everything when he first got there. But I said there's only one ball. And you have what was perceived to be a 1A and 1B wide receiver set. And I didn't know if Baker Mayfield was going to have the ability to control that. And it showed, I believe, Baker Mayfield's stats are like 10 times better when OBJ wasn't in the game. I mean, did you think he did have 1,000-yard season, but what did you think, Dom? Did you think it was going to be sunshine and roses when he went to Cleveland?
You look at it on paper and it would suggest it is, but as you say, you can only throw to one. And I think there were a lot of big personalities in that team, a lot of egos, including the quarterback himself. I think when in LA, I think he is probably happier in LA in terms of the city and the environment, and I think that is a factor. He's a rock star player, in terms of personality, and I think LA suits him. And I think there are some really good receivers in LA, and I don't think he's the best of the talents, but I think in terms of ego, I think the others are probably slightly more willing to accommodate that than they are in Cleveland. And I think there's probably an element there of him realizing, you know what, I'm not the player I was, and therefore I'm not going to quite get the ball and sort of be a little bit more zen about that.
Ooh, I like being zen. I can't stand Sterling Shepard shaking his head because evidently Sterling for Zach. Zach says once Shepard contract is over
on the strength of the pound.
Yeah, on the strength of the once Zach has wrote, once Shepard's contract is over, the last boat player will be off the team. And I agree. And Mr. Williams comes in. I can't stand Sterling shaking my head. He's Ron Dixon 2.0, always hurt. But Ron Dixon, and I've told this before, I've been to 2 Giant Super Bowls, was 86 and 2000. Ron Dixon going back to, I was headed back to the skybox, and you see him streaking for the touchdown. And you thought all was well for about 15 seconds. And the wheels just fell off the bus. Let's see here. I like these questions. I miss OBJ. I have to say that. The Saint was the only good victory this year. He's not wrong. I mean, if you look at the victories, I'm not saying that, a win is a win, Dom. You and I have talked about this before. Win is a win. The score, I mean, the standings does not say you won this game. There's not a check mark that says you won this game ugly. And there's not another check mark that says, you won this game because the other team fumbled. But in my opinion, that's true. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary. There were other wins, and the Saint game was always to me an aberration and not what the Giants were. I mean, what were your thoughts after the Giants? After that Saint game, after that big overtime win, and Daniel Jones throws for 400 yards.
I mean, I actually called them to win that game bizarrely, but
he got one right.
Yeah, it's a rare event. My one for 2021. But you have to follow it through. And you had to wait and see. Look, I said it earlier about the Cardinals, right? And I was wrong about the Cardinals. You were absolutely right. But I think it applies to the Giants at that stage of the season. I said earlier in the season, the Cardinals are doing really well, but I want to see what happens when they get injuries, and I want to see what happens when they're playing divisional games. If they start to win them, you start to believe. And the Cardinals answered all of the questions. I mean, it doesn't matter what I think, and it doesn't matter what questions I answer, but they are the questions that they had to answer, that people more knowledgeable and more influencing the game than me would be sort of saying about them. My worry was always that the Giants wouldn't be able to answer them, and that proved to be founded. With the Cardinals, I think they were a better team, and I had similar worries. But I think, but for me, you have to show consistency, and nothing at any point in the season has made me think, yeah, we're going to be consistent. Well, apart from consistently lose, I didn't have confidence in a team at any point. Not then and not now. But you obviously enjoy the victory when it comes.
You never just snub a victory. Joe Judge is a press conference legend. May I even say GOAT status? I can't disagree. He won the press conference. I
know the British are supposed to be famed for their sarcasm, but even I can do that with sarcastic and get away with it.
Oh my God. Sports are less aggressive, but players miss more games this past year. Is too much. I agree with this. I agree 100% with this one. I agree with 100% with this one, especially from Jeffrey. I mean, I do think, back in the day, you practiced in full pads every day. Bill Parcells in '86 was running his team, running full practices in the cold. And some of the Giants players even said years later that some of these practices were more difficult than the actual games. And I do believe that. I do believe there's too much off time. I do believe there's too much instructional time, and there's not enough hitting, because the only way you can feed, the only way you can feed the beast and feed the machine is if you're going out there and you're hitting somebody. And it's the only way you can get your body regulated to doing that. So I agree with that. But I have this one. I love this one right here for Dom. God save the queen, but Joe Judge and Gettleman can be the sacrifices.
I mean, we haven't done that since the 14th century.
Oh, you haven't done it since the 14th century?
Maybe the 15th. Well, 16th when people weren't looking.
Most people do not know this about the UK. They do not know this, and I'm going to drop some knowledge on you guys. The internet over in the UK is powered by hamsters. Most people don't know.
Very good ones earlier.
Dom has a little spinning wheel in his house. And the last two hamsters, Huey and Dewey, they died. So Dom had to run out earlier today and get some hamsters because they're also running the lights in the UK. I mean, I'm assuming you lost power because of the storm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you'd like to think, but you never know.
I'm calling you lost power.
Someone probably just want to put 50p in the meter.
What's up, Kareem? Welcome. Here we go. This is good, though. 2-a-day practices, unlimited full pads workout are gone. These current NFL players are made of glass, soft, emotional, always hurts. Do you think, Dom, and I'm from a different generation than you are. I'm Gen X. We don't care about anything. We're just whatever. We're just about whatever about everything. Do you think it's a generational thing about the way they're practicing, the way they're not practicing? Because when I played, which was in the late 80s and 90s, you went full practice. You were always in pads. I was always hurt, and I always admit the first time I was what they were. You have a player that just bad luck and injuries. I was injury prone, and it had nothing to do with the practices. I just was injury prone. But we always practice. Do you think maybe it's a generational thing that they have kind of, I'm not saying coddling to this next generation or two generations from mine, that's causing a lot of these injuries and a lot of these issues?
I think you have to argue it's a generational thing because as you've gone through the generations, it's gone more that way. I think there were some good things about that. I think the head injuries and that sort of thing, I think is a really positive thing. But I've always been a guy who's like, you practice as you play with sports I play. And I do think there is something in that. I obviously didn't play American football because I'm from the UK and I'm 5'1", so I'd have got killed. But with the sports I played, I was always, there's a saying, it's like you actually got hurt when you didn't fully commit to something. Right. And I think there's something in that. I really, really, really do. So yeah, I think there is an element of that's why these guys are getting hurt more, because their bodies aren't used to it, and then they go out and play on the Sunday and just get absolutely smashed. And their bodies can't cope and aren't used to it.
Just so you know this, Dom, if you would have played American football in college, you would be 5'4".
Oh yeah, I know. I'm going.
We don't know how to measure. We don't know how to measure when you go to college.
I told my wife, I said, I'm going to go and enroll in an American college, and I'll come back 3 inches taller.
You will. You'll be 20 pounds heavier and 3 inches taller. I remember one guy, because I was listed anywhere between 6'3" and 6'4", and I'm 6'1.5", almost 6'2". And I remember one guy came in and goes,
"You're 6'1.5" or real?"
One guy looked at me and said, "You are the shortest 6'4" player I've ever seen." It's like, well, I'm not wearing my cleats. That was the problem. Ship Dave and Joe and Dave to the England and lock them in the Tower of London. Can we still lock people in the Tower of London? Is that still acceptable?
I mean, sure. Yeah, we'll make it happen. Don't worry.
This is a good question, because maybe I was wrong. Is it hamsters or lemmings?
Well, hamsters power the electricity over here. But we have plenty of cliffs, being an island, that the lemmings can go and walk off.
I was never sure about that. Weed out the injury prone. Yes, a lot more talent because these guys aren't weeded out, as you said. You're right. We're not. That's a good point. We're not weeding out the talent. And I personally think it's a generational thing. What does Bob Hill? Bob Hill has got to say. Bob, I haven't got to Bob all day, I think. So agree about need for more hitting. I used to be able to watch 2 a days at fair. Yeah, I did too. And they weeded out the injury prone players before the season started. I remember the 2 a days. I used to go up, like I said, and watch them in upstate New York. And I remember, and it's actually funny because even back then, LeVar Arrington, who played for the Giants for only about 8 games, he played for Washington. And I remember going to training camp and staying up in Troy. And I remember talking to him because the players used to come out to the fence at the end of the training camp because you could go up literally up to the players. And I remember saying that he was telling somebody that he didn't feel right hitting people. When he hit someone in training camp, he didn't even make it to the season. He said he felt something was wrong. And I always thought to myself, was that more of a cryptic message that his shoulders weren't correct? And it kind of weeded him out. And it kind of, he only played like 6-7 games. I think it was only like 6 games. He got hurt after the Dallas game. And, then his career basically ended. That's just my opinion. Back then, no blood, no foul. Yep, you just walk it off. Under games, DJ would survive back. No, DJ would never. In my opinion, Dom, DJ would survive in like the 80s and 90s. That was. I would tell the story.
He's not alone, but no.
I tell the story that I dislocated my shoulder, and they popped it back in, and I walked off the field. My arm was hanging down like this, and my coach looks at me and goes, "You good?" I go, "I dislocated my shoulder." He goes, "Oh, you're fine. Walk it off." and being a 19-year-old, I'm like, okay. So he just went back in. Soccer, though, Tom. Soccer is one of those continuous motion sports. You're always
European football. We agree. European football.
I'm calling it soccer. I'm calling it soccer. Okay.
Just because your stream friends are here.
I'm calling it soccer.
I actually genuinely once broke someone's ankle. I won the ball and I put a hole. The ground was so soft, my foot as I won the ball put a small hole in the ground and his ankle went into it and my trailing leg just as I slid past him, you just heard the scream and the crack. That was horrible. But
I have a question about European football. Okay. Soccer is a game of perpetual motion. You're always moving. There's really no standing around in soccer. And there's no, football is, 40 seconds of standing around for 4 seconds of an explosion almost. So this game, you're always moving. So when you practice soccer, there's no way you could practice it half butt. There's no way. I mean, you have to, I would assume, because I never played soccer, but you would have to continuously be running. You'd continuously have to be doing, like scrimmages or whatever else you would do in there. So there would be really no way you could like not get around, running and playing and continuously be moving. You see how many serious injuries we have in the NFL with ACLs and things such as that. But in a sport like soccer, where you probably have to train just as hard as you do when you're playing the actual game. I mean, are there multitudes of ACL type injuries or quad injuries or anything such as that?
Not nowhere near the same extent. So when you train, you do some drills where you are standing still or your movement is limited. But that's more to practice the sort of technical skills, which is easier. And then you transfer that onto when you're then moving. But you can play games in training where you are literally, if you are not convinced you're going to win the ball, you're not meant to tackle for the ball. But I've always felt that was dangerous because that's where you slightly misjudge it or you judge it too late. You then get hurt. I remember once hurting a young lad, and we went in for what we call a 50-50 where Iris could win the ball. And generally, if you both go in hard, one of you will win the ball, but you'll both walk away. And he pulled out the last second. I won the ball and my momentum went straight into his stationary body and he got hurt. So I've not always been a fan of that, but you don't necessarily always stand still. But no, there's not the ACLs. There are ACL injuries, but generally speaking, let's take the top division, 20 clubs. It would be a very rare season if half of them lose a player for over 6 months to an injury.
Go back to where go back and say when he pulled out. Come on, go back and say it.
He pulled out.
That's what she said.
Wait till the new soundboard is here. This new soundboard's coming like tomorrow. It's got like 70 buttons.
But yeah, what we get is lots of sort of small 2-3 week injuries, but not the long term ones.
Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy.
No, and it probably comes from the fact these guys play 50, 60 games sometimes a year. So
I love this. Measurements are crazy, so messed up. I stood next to Phil Simms and he was no taller than me, and I'm 6 even. Yeah, like I said, in college, man, they measured you all wrong. 2-a-days was gangsta. 2-a-days. I remember in high school 3-a-days. And I remember spring practices and summer practices. I remember all that crap. You know what, guys? We're going to do a couple more questions here right now, but we're going to close it out soon. Tim, do you think one of the biggest problems is playing everyone on the roster in important situations? Joe Judge keeps rotating players. Starters should only come out with fatigue or injuries. I've said this before. I thought this. You need to keep the same 11 guys on the field. That was always been. I don't know if it has anything to do with the quad injuries, but that's always been my opinion. Dom, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense, and I also think you just want your best 11 guys on the field.
But that's what I always thought. Were you a dual sport player, Dom? Did you play soccer and rugby?
Do you know what? When I was really young, I used to play rugby. Rugby, by the way, is brutal. But I'm definitely too small for rugby. But yeah, it's absolutely brutal.
Suicides in full pad sucked. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Also running the Oklahoma drill. But that's for old timers. They don't do that. They don't do that stuff. You know what, guys, we were going to talk about the NFL and everything else, but I actually had such a good time talking about the Giants. But you need to go and go back and listen to the old episodes. NFL Talk from Across the Pond and Back. It's on every place that podcast can be found. And normally what we do on this portion of the show is the fact that we have the final thoughts from Dom. Whoops. Like I said, I cannot wait to get my soundboard. So what we do is we have Dom close it out with
Draft, baby. Yeah.
With Dom's final thoughts. This is Dom's segment, and this is good. Like I said, go NFL Talk from Across the Pond and Back. Any place that podcasts are found. Dom usually closes out with his final thoughts, with his wisdom, with his ability to spin a yarn about something in regards to NFL football, maybe the Giants. And I know Dom is probably going to have a classic opinion for this show to close it out, because I think we had a really good show. I think this was an awesome show. I had a lot of fun doing it. I think maybe Dom and I should do this every week, just during the week, once a week. Dom, what is your pearl of wisdom for the audience today?
You always build me up, and I always
man.
And now I'm letting it down in front of loads of people. But what was I going to say? Before I do my final thought, it's a regular account. I'm used to it. Don't worry. Two things. I just wanted to two of your subscribers, Logic's Finest. I used to like you, but now I found you're a Manchester United fan. So, but no, Logic's Finest, Zachary. I've really enjoyed a couple of debates we've been having in Tim's live. So thanks for that. Really enjoyed that in the last couple of streams. I don't always get on because of a time difference, but really enjoyed that. But my question for you, and there is a Giants link here, which actually is. So obviously we got rid of Garrett a few weeks back, and we saw Joe Brady go recently from Carolina as their offensive coordinator. What do you see as a logic and the point behind teams doing that? Because ultimately the team philosophy is set. The playbook is pretty much set. You're not going to suddenly see us going, do you know what? We used to never throw the ball, and now we've got these 50 new plays that we've all learned to throw the ball, and we're going to become dynamic overnight. You're not going to do that mid-season. What do you think's behind the teams there? Decisions to do make those sorts of moves.
Honestly, firing your offense coordinator at this juncture of the season is useless. It's used as a scapegoat. It's used as a reason for the head coach to say, it's not me. Didn't do it. Bart Simpson didn't do it. That's to me what it is, because you're right. You're not going to change your offensive philosophy midstream. The playbook's going to be the same. The play calling is going to be pretty much similar. But it's, in my personal opinion, it's like I said, it's just to give the the head coach to say to management, look, we're doing this. We're firing this guy because it's all his fault.
Yeah, I mean, it's also to appease sections of the fans as well, fan base as well, as I thought. But just to extrapolate out the point a little bit further, and extrapolate is my big word for the day apparently, because that's the 5th time I've used it. But do you see teams sort of looking to sack head coaches and GMs at this point? And again, if they did, what would be the point? Because again, it changes nothing here, but maybe there's some benefit towards the offseason by going early.
Yeah, only if you've completely lost the locker room should you get rid of your head coach. That's the only situation. Getting rid of your general manager this point of the season is not a bad idea, because if you have someone in mind that you are going to bring it, it allows you to start the process of building your team for next year. The only problem is most of your qualified candidates are probably still in positions at this point, at this juncture, with some other NFL team. So it's not going to be like, you're going to bring in your guy. But your head coach firing is only if he's lost the entire locker room. I don't mind firing a GM, especially the fact right now that you're not really doing much, except signing free agents to fill your roster via injury. So, I mean, you have assistant GMs that could do that. But it's like I said, only in my mind does it allow you to see Saeed. Wait, there was a stream? Yeah, Saeed, there's a stream, man. We've been streaming for 1 hour and 30 minutes and 21 seconds. Where the hell have you been? But that's my thing. I mean, like I said, coaches, I don't get rid of unless you totally lost the locker room. GMs, you could get rid of them, but the fact that you're probably not going to find a replacement until the season's end is going to be the only difficult and the only issue in regards to that.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I can see the point on the GM, but none of the others. And I think you're exactly right. And yet teams seem to do it every year, year in, year out, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But there we go. That was my final question to you of the day. But I've had a load of fun this evening, and I would echo your thoughts. Go and listen to the pod and hear us pontificate about other teams.
We pontificate
how
about
wrong I am in my predictions.
We how wrong Dom is in his predictions, how right I usually am. How I
right on the Pats. I'm hanging on to that.
You were right. You were right on the Pats, but I was right on Miami
as well. By the way,
I was right on Miami. I was right on the Cardinals. Yeah. I was right on so many different things I want to talk about. Because, like Mr. Authentic, you're allowed to pat yourself on the back. Tim, do you really want to give him the interim title so he may stay longer? No. No, you're right. You're right. I went crazy for a minute because you want to know why? I didn't eat the fruit. I need to eat some fruit, man. Eat some fruit. Fruit's good for you. What's Mr. Williams got to say? Coach, wait, my anxiety is acting up. I can't finish practice today. I'm sorry. I once broke 3 fingers in summer practice in high school. 3 fingers. You know what they did? They just taped them all together. And this way this one still got a little blue on it because the circulation's not there. But they just taped it all together. Just said, go back to practice. Like, okay. But I think that's the but yes, NFL Talk from across the pond and back. We talk about so many different things. We have so much fun doing other things. But you know what? I don't feel bad about talking Giants this hour and a half because of the fact that, you know what? I never thought we'd have 80-something people in the stream.
It's been a lot of fun.
At 4 p.m. That's just crazy to me. That's just crazy.
It's 10 here, but you know.
What's that?
It's 10:30 now, but my time, but
Mrs. Online Big Blue with the quote of the day, the text of the day. Dom needs some fruit. She's saying she's watching. She says you need to be a little bit more peppy. We need some fruit for Dom. Dom, I'm gonna airmail you some fruit.
It won't have gone bad by the time it reached me at all. But she hadn't given me a pep talk for weeks. What does she expect?
You're lucky I don't have her call in. No, she doesn't like being on the air. I always think Mrs. Online Big Blue should call in and should talk to the audience because I think that she's got to deal with me enough as it is. I think she needs a therapy session so she can talk to some of these wonderful people that we always have in the stream because she hears about all you guys. I always talk about Logic's Finest. I always talk about James Williams. I always mention things that Bob said. And Mike Lee is sometimes the conversation around dinner. Some of his emails. So I do appreciate everyone that's able to stop in. I do appreciate everyone that does hang out. I do appreciate Dom for coming in and pontificating for an hour and helping promote the new podcast because I think that's what we're doing today. We're kind of promoting the podcast. This podcast will be up tomorrow. So if you want to listen to it, go right ahead. Let's see here. Has anyone else got anything closing thoughts? Because it's closing time. Because Dom has got to go to bed because it is. He's 5 hours ahead, so carry the 3. It's 2:45 in the morning in the UK.
Spot on as always. Your maths is absolutely on point. Although I do have to get the train to London town in 7 hours and 59 minutes.
Oh, it's always about you.
It's always about me.
Does your wife make pasteles? No, she does not make pasteles. She could probably. She could. I'm actually the cook in the house, and I've never tried to make pasteles. I love pasteles though.
What are pasteles?
It's you know what? That's something we'll have to explain off the air. I'll explain pasteles, mofongo, and a whole bunch of things off the air to you. Oh, Mr. Logic's finest. He's 6 hours ahead.
Yeah, he's 1 hour on over there in Germany,
and he's been he's been on the stream longer. Right? Yeah, and he's been on the stream longer and not complaining. Okay,
I'm British. We've got nothing better to do.
I just have insomnia. So, what do we got here? James Williams, thank you for always, Mr. Williams, for stopping. Salute to Dom. We all have to give Dom a shout out. Stay safe, brother. James is fastly become. I'm not even sure how long James has been subscribing. James and Juan and a bunch of people are like some of my favorite subscribers. They just make me laugh. They make me laugh, and also the fact that they know the sport. So I mean, that's always, and like Mr. Authentic, you know the sport, and those are the guys that I it keeps me doing this, because a lot of times I sit here and say, why the hell am I doing this?
I've got to read one out that you definitely can't read out because you'll murder it, which is good channel, boy, good chat. That's the way it should be phrased.
But you missed it. It's no rubbish from here. Hello, love.
I told you.
Hello, love. Jokey.
We're playing cricket in the early hours of the morning, don't you know?
We're playing cricket over here. Good mate. Malik Willis.
No
great stream.
Dick Van Dyke struggles.
Oh my God! No wonder my wife drinks and eats fruit. And a big salute to Big Tim as always. Thank you, James. I appreciate that. Funny story I heard about Tim's channel from a hater. All right, let's hear the funny story. Or is it a funny store? I heard about Tim's channel from a hater. I want to hear it now. I want to hear what Zach's got to say. I got to leave, but I got to hear it because I've had to go to the bathroom for like an hour. I had a whole bunch of coffee. And I'm 3 miles of water in.
Definitely do it. By the way, he was asking about can she GM a football team? She would 100% do a better job than Dave Gettleman.
Can the wife GM a football team? Put her in. Or she could. So like I said, she used to call out Leonard, Kurt Warner all the time. She used to call him numbnuts. That's how bad. And she would be like, is numbnuts throwing another interception? Is he taking another sack? Put Eli in. Oh my God. I'm waiting for you, Zach, because I really got to use the bathroom. I need a bathroom downstairs. There is there's a sub pump down here. Contemplating. Dom, I don't know if you know what a sub pump is. It's one of those things that it pumps out the water. All my brothers in here, stay safe. Good night, James. Have yourself a good evening. I'm so glad that we were able to jump in here. Unless Zach is going to send me. Oh, here we go. Zach has finally come in. One of the channels was saying you know it all and you hate him because he uses Google. So I decided to check it out. One of the channels was saying you know it all and you hate him because he uses Google. So I decided to check. Who is that? I don't know who that is. I do know it all. I think Dom will test that. I'm a genius. There's Einstein. There's some other smart guy. And then there's me. Ooh, the guns are getting big.
Way to nail it.
The guns are getting big. No one noticed that I've lost weight. I'm a little upset about that. Notice I'm thinning out again. After I had the COVID, I couldn't work out. So I've started working out every day. Because I couldn't breathe anymore. It has a rebuttal in his name. Rebuttal. Is it OGR? OGR is an idiot. He doesn't make videos anymore. He doesn't make them anymore. He was one of those things. He was just so stupid I couldn't even deal with him. He would say stuff like, half the team is made out of undrafted free agents. I think the Giants had 4 this year on the roster. Oh, my God. Yeah, I guess it was OGR.
Zach has confirmed you are correct.
Thank you. Logic's findings? Yes, thank you, Zach.
Sorry, Zachary. I should.
Zach. It's Zach Attack.
There you go.
You call him Mr. Zachary, the subscriber to Online Big Blue and great commenter. You have to use this.
I could upgrade him to Sir Zachary of Online Big Blue comments.
Cop Zizzy hates you. Hates me. Why does he hate you? I like Cop. I actually get along with Cop. I mean, I think I get along with Cop because of the fact that he's really a nice guy. But you have to kind of listen to you have to listen to his views to understand what he's saying, because he says a lot of very intelligent things about the Giants. I think it's his delivery, but I think that delivery is what makes his channel. COVID was no fun. Coughing up blood was interesting. Yeah, I didn't cough up blood. I didn't cough up blood. I had COVID twice in 19 months. And I was going to do the hat trick and go 3 times in 24 months, but I've decided against it. Oh, here we go. All right. Thank you. Albert Einstein, Stephen Hawkins, Carl Sagan, and Tim. One of these things is not like the other.
Is this the odd one out competition?
One of these things is not like the other. Where else could you go to YouTube and watch your host sing? All right, we're gonna end this, guys.
There's plenty of channels where you can do that, but they won't be as good as this one.
Not be as good as this one. Jim Harbaugh needs to at least control 2 years on player recruitment. I think Jim Harbaugh's not coming here, but I think it'll be fine. Let's see.
Comes in needs some time as long as they're not horrific.
Was it Giants, Fireside Giants, or Fist Fakes? No, it was OGR Sports. It was OGR Sports. Dom, I got a question for you about this. And I do have to really get it because I really have to go to the bathroom. Have you ever watched Fireside Giants? And be honest.
Possibly. Not regularly if I have. It's not. Yeah, I think I've watched 1 or 2. But not regularly.
So Dom got removed from the stream because he watched Fireside Giants. What the hell's wrong with him? I'm going to bring you back in just
as well. I possibly. I think so. I watch a few bits and pieces, but not regularly. I'm not subscribed to.
Dom is banned. I did bond. I'm sorry, Dom.
Are you getting told off?
I'm sorry, Dom.
Get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
We'll bring Dom back. After COVID, it took months to breathe normal again. I couldn't walk normal. I'm still getting back to breathing normal. This always happens. I try to end the show, then I go another 45 minutes. We talk about movies and everything else. I'd be cool using number 1 pick on a quarterback, but we have to have a draft no line. We're going Malik Willis. We know that. Wow, Tim, you're looking good. Suck up. You are one of my favorite subscribers.
I'll sing to Fireside Giants. I'm not singing to Sucking Up.
Mike Lee is looking for a new co-host. Yes, I need a new co-host for NFL Talk from across the pond and back because Dom had an accident. He challenged me.
I'll get King of the Idiots on. Don't worry.
Happy wife, happy life. That's true. And I love my wife. She knows that. And if you don't, honey, you know I love you. Because like I said, you put up with me. You put up with me. Not only do you put up with me, you put up with Dom.
Now who's sucking up?
She's Puerto Rican, man. She might cut me. Gotta keep it safe. No, it's true though, Dom. I mean, you are actually one of my. You know, it's funny. Dom and I have never met in person, but it's funny that you are one of my wife's favorite friends.
Is that because she doesn't have to see me in person?
I think that's what it is. Oh, this is a good question because we always do this. Dom, what's your favorite movie?
I don't have a favorite movie, but one of my favorite movies definitely is The Usual Suspects. So we were talking about it earlier. Someone that works for me hasn't seen it, so I told him that he wasn't getting any more help from me until he went and watched it.
Okay. Wish it could be a sport movie.
Sport movies, generally speaking, not a fan.
Really?
They tend to all be the same.
Dom, you're gone again. Why do you keep getting yourself banned, Dom? I don't know. Stop it.
I was going to be really geeky and talk about maths and how a double negative equals a positive, and that's where I keep coming.
If you're going to bring the show down, Dom, you're going in timeout. You're going in timeout.
You're going to do that. Totally worth it.
You know
Totally
you're going in timeout. Here we go. Logic's Finest understands this. My wife is Puerto Rican. They are crazy and keep them away from the knives. Yes, very jealous and very possessive. My wife is not jealous or possessive.
Is a knife thing why you cooked him?
Well, yeah, I had to keep the knives away from her. I always tell my favorite story about my wife, and I always tell it. You know, she always says,
"If I ever regret this in 5 minutes."
No, I'm not going to regret it because I've told this story a million times. Like I've told this on the stream. If I ever do anything wrong in any time, and I don't because of one very big reason, she's already threatened to chop me up and feed me to my mother. Normally, I wouldn't believe that. Normally, I wouldn't. But sometimes I believe her. Dom, imagine if you had to live with me.
Well, at least I'd eat.
At least you.
Yeah, every cloud.
At least you eat. Yeah, Tim, try dating a Cuban. I don't know. I never dated a Cuban. I don't want to date a Cuban because I just have one beautiful wife. Happy life, happy wife. Dom, what's your favorite tea?
There's only one kind of tea.
English?
Yeah, Builders. Not
just
tea. Yeah, Builders tea. It's tea, milk, tiny splash of milk, not too much. No sugar. Let it to brew, so it's nice and strong. Yeah, just normal tea. None of your Darjeeling rubbish and all of that. Lamb sang douches or whatever it's called. None of that rubbish. You just have a nice cup of Tetley or Yorkshire tea in a cup, nice and strong. No messing around.
My wife's go-to is to cut off my little soldier. Okay, well, that's a bad one too. That's not a good one. Earl Grey tea, he's a tosser.
Aren't you pretentious having your Earl Grey?
For being mean to one of my subscribers. You're back now, Dom. Watch it. You're on thin ice.
I by the way, Logic's Finest, you've just responded with just jokes and likewise. There's actually Earl Grey. There's nothing wrong with an Earl Grey, but yeah.
What is the tea? What does the Queen drink?
Oh, I'd have thought Earl Grey. 100%. I'd have thought. I'd be very shocked if it wasn't anything less than Earl Grey. It's a posh tea.
I have no idea what that means.
Posh, but in a very
posh.
Posh.
Oh, lordy, look posh. It's a Porsche. It's a posh spice. Joke. Wait, what is this? Puerto Ricans and Dominicans usually like to make sausage and eggs. The guess that's where sausage comes from. You're trying to get me. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good one. That's a pretty good. Well, oh my God, is that what those? The cans with the little sausages? Is that what that is? Is that what that is? El Gigantic. Is that what that is? Oh, now I'm never eating those again. Wait, as a Puerto Rican man myself, this is a high key true. We're all a little nuts. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Oh, here we go, Dom. We got another Dom question. I have so many Hispanic subscribers. I love that because the majority of people that I hang out with or used to hang out with were all Puerto Rican. I don't know why. Just kind of worked out that way. Dom, what's your favorite Britcom? I'm older, so Are You Being Served comes right to mind.
Well, that brings us back to Mike Lennon, right? Because that had Captain Peacock in it. But it's a really good question. It's not How Are You Being Served. I think the Blackadders were very good. Fawlty Towers, very good. Only Fools and Horses. That went on a bit, but it was very good. Yeah, lots of good British comedies. Normally, that went on a little bit like that comment.
Oh, here we go. We got
wait to bring that down.
Dom needs to do English tea review on this channel.
Really don't.
I like that. Logic's Finest. Here we go. Doctor Who is dead now. Fans since 19. Is he dead?
I mean,
I
did
thought
he die
Doctor.
like 350 times and they keep bringing them back? Like I've not watched Doctor Who though. I mean, yeah, I think there's been about 15 of them.
I know his brother, Professor What. Sorry. Monty Python Flying Circus. We've talked about Monty Python before in the show. Absolutely fabulous. We got to stop talking about me. I want Kenny Pickett.
Ready.
I want Kenny Pickett. Okay. Here we go. Last one. Is Dom a Man U or a Man City fan? What is Manchester United.
United or Manchester City. Neither is the answer.
Okay. I was going to say Dom is a man. So he's got facial hair. I can attest to that. Let's see here. Does Dom? Oh, here we go. There's another good question. We got a lot of good Dom questions today. Does Dom like biscuits American style?
As in like cookies?
Mm-hmm.
I like cookies.
Cookies
are good. I mean, if I could be a fictional character, it would be the Cookie Monster. I mean, yeah, I love cookies, but I'm not quite sure, but probably.
I think it was funny though because I was in a butcher shop. There's a pig farm right down the road from my house. There is a butcher. I live like now I used to live like like towards civilization. Now I live like in the country. I mean, literally to the point that every day I go to the farm and get fresh eggs, and I go to the dairy farm and get milk. And for someone like me, that's interesting. So I'm at the pigs. There's a butcher shop, and it's just all pork. And in the corner of the counter, there was something that said English bacon. And I was like, or British bacon. I can't remember which one it was.
British, I think it was. Yeah.
It was British bacon. So, of course, I had no idea what it was. And the lady couldn't explain it to me. So I called Dom from the butcher shop and said, "What is British bacon?" And what did you say to me?
I literally don't know what that is. We just have bacon. But we got to the bottom of it. It turned out it was just thicker bacon.
And I love it because I had him on speakerphone. And the ladies were like, "You're not really calling someone from the UK." I'm like, "Yeah, because I want to know what British bacon is." But that was a yeah. Let's see. That's go ahead, Dom. Do it. Come on.
Wait. What are you asking?
Do it. Say it.
What, draft, baby?
No, that's a man, baby. Come on. Let's hear your best British accent.
That's a man, baby. I mean, I could just say it in my normal voice, right? I am British.
You are?
Yeah, I can even do it in the Yorkshire voice if you really want me to.
All right, do it in the Yorkshire voice.
That's it's slightly tricky actually because the sounds aren't in the right.
So what are you doing, The Godfather now? Yes.
I was just thinking the vowels are not in the right place actually for a Yorkshire accent. It'll come out normal, but in the north they have a bath. In the south we have a bath. Just throwing it out there.
Okay. All right, guys, we're going to close this out because it is almost 11 o'clock time. We do have to be respectful of this time. Plus, I have to go to the bathroom and I need to feed my family, and we're trimming the Christmas tree. So, you know what, guys?
Wait. No, you can't go. You're trimming the Christmas tree. What?
Yeah.
And what? What
do you mean?
What?
We're putting the ornaments on.
I just get a Christmas tree that kind of fits the room and then put it up. Yeah, it's just thick cut bacon. That's exactly right.
That's why you guys can't win a war, because you don't know how to trim a Christmas tree. Sorry. You don't know what trimming a Christmas tree is?
No. I mean, I can work.
You don't put ornaments and stuff on your tree? This is the stuff Dom and I talk about when we're not on the air. Sometimes
it's what we talk about when we are on the air.
Oh, that's true too. You don't trim a Christmas tree?
No.
You don't put ornaments on the tree.
Oh, you mean put decorations on it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant literally you got a saw and started hacking bits off it.
It's artificial. Why would I hack the tree when it doesn't grow?
Right. That's why I was wondering. I was like, what the hell are you doing? Yeah, we put decorations on it. Yeah, for sure. We just call it putting decorations on it, like a normal person.
And Dom got kicked out. Dom got banned again. We're going to bring Dom back in again. You know what?
Is this a record?
Here we go. It's true. It is Pearl Harbor Day. So let us actually take the show down and for a second, because it is Pearl Harbor Day, and for all those men and women that sacrificed themselves for the United States and the technically also for the British and the English and everyone else. It is a day of remembrance. I do come from a military family, so you know what? We will give a moment of silence for today, because it is a day that lives in infamy, and it's a day that nobody, no one expected, and honestly, it was the day that kicked off years of war, and we're glad the way it ended, and I think so let's give a moment of instead of a moment of silence, let's give a moment of thanks, and again, I do appreciate, because of the fact that if the war did not turn out the way it did, I probably wouldn't be talking to Dom. I mean, I know that's kind of weird to say, but it's kind of true.
Well,
so
I might be talking to you in a different language.
I don't know how to speak a different language. and I'm so obstinate, I would not learn another language. So even if we lost the war, I wouldn't learn another language.
But in all seriousness, I mean, I would echo your thoughts and sentiments there. I think absolutely. I didn't realize it was Pearl Harbor Day, but I would genuinely, in all seriousness, echo those thoughts that you just expressed.
Thank you. You know it, and it's the United Kingdom of Great Britain, Northern Ireland, and I'm Irish.
Yeah.
I'm from a military family, 4 generations. We're 3 generations here, not 4. So we should all. So guys, we're going to close out. We're going to end it on that note, because this is a good note to end it on. And again, guys, go out and find NFL Talk from Across the Pond and Back. Every place that podcast can be downloaded. And you'll hear Dom, you'll hear us talk. We ran much longer than I thought we were going to go, because I got to go upstairs and I do have to go to the bathroom still. So, guys, I appreciate it. Good. Oh, we're leaving, man. NFL legend, New York NFL, dropping by to pay the proper respects as slimy, snappy, stinking Eagles fans out the door. My friend, we are actually checking out. But I do appreciate you stopping by for a moment. I want to say goodnight to everyone. Dom, do you want to say anything before we close this out?
This has been real fun. Thanks, guys. It's been great. And as Tim says, go check out the podcast for a wider view on all things NFL.
And I think Bob closed it out with the best way. Thank you to those that gave all for me to be free. And I think that is a wonderful sentiment to close it out. Good night, guys. See you in a couple of days. We will have our stream probably. And like I said, find it. NFL Talk from Across the Pond and Back. Good night, everyone.